Hey y'all, I'm Shayna and I'm back with another review for Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 5, Season 4, Episode 7. We definitely going to get into it. This is where the original comeback group meets up. I know I'm late with my review because y'all know that I, a few days ago, had an interview with a guest that was from the show Family or Fiance, which is also on the OWN network. If you haven't seen it already, please support your girl and check it out. Near and dear to me because it's my first interview. And Laterica, who was on last week's episode, was amazing, super easy to talk to. It was a really great conversation. You don't want to miss it. So make sure you check it out. Like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel too. Please and thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Quite frankly, I'm ready to wrap this season up, and I'm thinking this show just got renewed for another season. What are we going to be talking about? Like, what are we talking about next season? I'm all talked out. I don't want to talk about it no more. I'm done. Like, I think we should take a serious break from Love and Marriage Huntsville for a while and just revamp. But we're going to get into it anyway. So we start off with Melody and Stormi. Stormi came to help Melody out with taking photos for another one of her business ventures. They're discussing their businesses. And Stormi talks about how she manifested her products being in retail stores. She said her husband would just take her to like Sally's and other beauty supply stores. And she would walk up and down the aisles and look around and say, okay, now how would my product stand out amongst all the others? And there she is. That was back in 2016. It's 2022, and it came to fruition. It's there. It's in the stores. It's in Target. So I have actually gone to Target last week, and while I was there, I saw the product. So here it is. It's called Canvas. And I purchased the hair oil, the serum. So I've been using it for about a week. It is really thick, but it feels good on the scalp. So it's too soon to tell as far as results wise. So I'm going to keep giving it time. But check out and support a Black business for sure. In the meantime, because Stormi ain't really my fave, but I'm gonna support a Black business regardless. Stormi tells Melody that she and Destiny met up. She's like, look, we're not friends. I don't really do the friend thing, but they buried the hatchet. I don't know. She had a little energy. I felt like, oh, we ain't friends. I don't do the friend thing. But she wasn't really sounding that way when she was talking to Destiny, in my opinion. But I'm glad they buried whatever so-called beef they had. It was unnecessary. Even Melody said it. So I'm glad it's over and done with. Stormi also tells Melody that she and Tiffany discussed the event with the grand reopening, and Melody said Destiny is telling misinformation about the fight with Miss Wanda, saying she started it. In my opinion, she did initiate this particular fight when she ran up on Miss Wanda over there, but in all actuality, Miss Wanda started it by running her mouth on social media. She's been all over the internet running her mouth, so that was what really got the whole thing started in the first place. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any reason for Melody to even approach Miss Wanda. So we go to the next scene, and Tiffany is having a work meeting. She's, I didn't catch the name, forgive me. If you had the name, drop it down in the comments, for a glasses company that is Black owned. Something else to support, something else that I will be looking into, because I was so nervous about buying glasses online. Like, I would get them from my eye doctor or LensCrafters or whatever, but I've just this year been going online and getting lots of glasses. They're cheaper. You just take your prescription. They have much better, cuter frames on these websites. So if one of them is Black owned, why not support it? So after the meeting, Louis comes in to visit her, and Tiffany is discussing babies and removing her IUD. It's giving forced storyline. It's giving, y'all don't got nothing else going on, nothing to talk about, so we just gonna pretend like we want to have another baby. Big Lou mentions Dr. Francis asking her about becoming a new mom again while being so busy. She's like, look, I'm not going to slow down. And I know I'm the one that wanted to change. Initially, when we got married, we discussed that we didn't want any more children. And that I'm the one kind of switching it up. But you have a say-so on this too. Let me know what you think. Yeah, but does he really have a say-so? I mean, to be honest, he didn't even have a say-so on y'all getting married. You up and planned, I don't know if he proposed ahead of time, but you up and planned the whole wedding. I think, if I remember clearly, allegedly, she proposed to him and then they got married and everything, like on the baseball field the same day. So it's like, he didn't even have no say-so in getting married. I don't know how they got the marriage license and everything like that, without signing ahead of time, but they got married and she planned the whole ordeal without any involvement from him. So does he have a say-so in anything? I don't know. That's just my opinion. We don't really know what goes on behind closed doors, but I feel like if she wanted to try to get pregnant, she would have took the IUD out and not put it back in regardless. But I don't really feel like deep down, she may want more children, but I don't feel like it's just like, I gotta have them, like I really, really want them. And she's talking about, you know what, let's just take 6 months and see what happens. If we don't get pregnant, she'll put it back in. So that's not screaming like I'm really trying to have a baby to me. But you know what she said? She's not going to slow down with work. She didn't plan her last child and she ain't going to plan this one. Whatever happens, happens. So he said, you know what? That's fine. We're going to take the 6 months. He's in agreement. I feel like he's just like, okay, whatever. Like threw his hands up at this point. And she's like, well, in their confessional, like the good part about it is, we'll be doing it more often on all these extra positions. And this is like, seeing them two together, I cannot believe me and Tiffany are around the same age. I can't. I'm just going to leave that there. Moving on. The Scotts 1.0 and 2.0 are on their way to meet with the original, we're going to call them the comeback group because that's what it was originally. So the original 6, the comeback group, they're getting into their luxury vehicles. The ladies got their, the new girls sitting up high. They looking brand spanking new. They looking good. The checks are clearing. Kimmy is aging backwards. If y'all been watching since season 1 like me, when they introduced them and they implied that Kimmy was older than Maurice, like I could tell she was old. She don't look older than him no more. She don't look older than him no more. Kimmy looks great. Everybody does, but Kimmy really, really looks good. Tisha tells Marcel in the car, because they showed the back and forth with them talking to each other in the car about this meeting. Maurice and Kimmy don't got much. They ain't really had a storyline in like 2 seasons. Ever since they got married, I don't really feel like they've been given much. Honestly, they're a little boring. I don't want them off the show. They just not giving like much. So, but they're in the original group, so they got to meet. But Tisha was telling Marcel in the car that she's unsure about what happened at the event, and she may need to call her mom ahead of time. She was like, I was there, but I really wasn't there. Like, I was inside the beauty supply store when everything was happening outside. So I didn't really hear and see everything that happened initially because I wasn't around. Tisha. Like, okay, and now you got to call your mom just on the way there. Like, come on now. Like, you didn't talk to your mom about it before. Like, you couldn't hear all the ruckus inside. Like, you didn't hear everything that happened beforehand. And this has been an ongoing thing. I mean, yeah, it escalated at the event, but it was build up until that point. So Marcel said, you're going to believe your mom over your own eyes. He is funny. That's why it's like, I understand why everybody's like, oh, she's so crazy for staying with him. I'm sure he be making her laugh all day long now. Like, it's like ooh, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about him because he makes me laugh. But I know he gets on her last nerve. He has to. But yeah, she don't believe her mama over her own eyes. If she don't, she not going to say it on camera, period. So Marcel calls Melody ahead of the meeting to see, where she wants things to go with the Scotts. How does she want the relationships to go? Melody is like, look, Wanda needs to get out the picture, and they ain't friends. Ain't no friends. Too much has been said. Too much has been done to go back to being like friends. But for them to get on the same page, like, and for them to even build back to potentially getting there, they can't do that with Wanda in the picture. Tisha called her mama Basically, Miss Wanda was saying, like, look, she was adamant. She didn't talk about that youngest child. She didn't say nothing because she didn't say her name. Yeah, you didn't say the child's name, probably because you don't know the child's name. But you mentioned the child. And even if you say, hey, I'm talking about Martell, because she's like to me like I was talking about Martell. Talking about Martell is talking about Martell. Talking about, oh, get your baby daddy, and that might not even be your daughter. It's talking about the child. You know what? Let's because I'm not even about to act like, okay, we don't know the difference. Like, come on now. What are y'all, like, own it. So, Tisha and Marcel are first to arrive. And Tisha asked Marcel once he went out of the meeting. He like, I want ribs, salad, mashed potatoes. Like, joking like he liked to do. And he like, I don't really have no expectations. Like, I'm just here. Because as far as he's concerned, him and Marcel already squashed they beef. So he's just like, look, I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm just here so I don't get fired, period. So Tisha was like, look, I don't want you getting riled up again. Because I ain't never seen you that upset before and I didn't like it. And he's like, look, I mean, it's just a part of who I am. Like, I just like to suppress it, but I'm a dangerous man. Child, please. You're a dangerous man to who? Who are you? You're not intimidating nobody, Marcel. Stop it. Even in that in the little incident, that little tussle y'all was about to have, I don't think you intimidated or scared Martell or anybody else, honestly, in my opinion. So Maurice and Kimmy arrive, and Maurice said in their confessional that Scott's 1.0 are there first. So the former Holts, they might want to watch out. They don't got nothing to watch out for, especially with Marcel. He like, look, I don't even really want to be here. I'm just here. But Martell and Melody arrive, and Maurice said it looks like they're back together the way he's pulling out her chair. Maybe he was just being, I know y'all ain't used to seeing him treat her right or nice or kind, but maybe he was just being a gentleman by just simply pulling out her chair. Yeah, they walked in together. Just like y'all walked in together because they're coming today to talk about their child. That was on their agenda. You talked about their kids. So yeah, they're walking in a united front. And if we're going back to the original, well, originally they were together, so they're coming in together. But, I mean, let's enjoy the Holts being together while we can, because we know it's so up and down and rocky with them. They're co-parents, and I hope that they get back to this page that we're seeing on screen right now, because we know it ain't like that in present times. But we saw a flashback of the first comeback meeting, and woo! When the checks start clearing, baby, when they say, look, it's not that you looking rough. You just need the money. You just need the checks to clear. You need the coin. When the coin comes, it's a whole new you. I'm going to just say that because the cast is looking like it was giving Alabama like back in 2006 or something. But now we in current day. You feel what I'm saying? They looking like they right here, right now. The wigs and advance, everything is coming together. So, I'm looking at Mel and Martell, and I'm like, oh, they look like they should be together. They look like they should be together. They're aesthetically pleasing together. It's a shame that their relationship is where it's at. The meeting starts, and Martell basically was like, look, Wanda need to go, period. And now everybody just leaving the miss off of it because they feel like she ain't even worthy of that type of respect. So, Martell mentions when Wanda talked about their daughter's hair, which was, I was so annoyed at that. Like, so annoyed at that. Martell also has a problem with Wanda questioning the paternity of their daughter, of course. And Tisha acts like she's just oblivious and says that Wanda told her, because they had a conversation with her on the phone, that she never said the child's name. She never mentioned, like, who the child was or anything. But yeah, she did. She don't got to say her name. Stop it. We know who you were talking about, Wanda. And Tisha, if you going to say, because she was like, look, Marcel was like, kids should be off limits. Tisha agreed. But don't agree and then turn around and be like, well, she didn't talk about your child. Just, if you're in agreement, say your mama was wrong. You know what? She was wrong. I don't agree with that. You don't have to agree with everything she did or justify or excuse it. You don't agree with that. She talked about the child. She shouldn't have mentioned anything about the child at all. And if you're trying to get at Melody, then you don't even need to mention anything about Martell at all. But if you want to mention him because she mentioned your baby daddy, okay. There's so many things that Martell has done that can be mentioned. That mentioning their daughter just didn't even make sense. So Tisha said they both have been at each other. They've been back and forth with each other. They've been coming at each other. Melody was like, look, I didn't come at Wanda until she started, degrading me. Calling me on my name. Tisha is right. They both do go at each other. They go at each other's necks. They come for each other. They do. But they showed a clip of Miss Wanda on one of her lives when she was talking about Melody and calling her all types of degrading things and out of her name. So, I feel like at first, no one was really saying anything to Miss Wanda, but after a while, it's getting to be, besides Marsau, but he been tired of her. That's his mother-in-law. But it was getting to be too much. First it was like, okay, Miss Wanda, she funny, I like her. But now it's too much. It's too much. We need a break from Miss Wanda. But if we take a break from Miss Wanda, will we have a show? Because what else is going on? So Maurice chimes in. He says Melody should have gotten Wanda's number from somebody. Because Melody was like, I don't have her number. He's like, you should have went and got her number and called her. What sense does that even make? Are you being for real? She don't have her number, so she's supposed to go out and, hey, you got Wanda's number, you got Wanda's number, you got Wanda's number, and call her instead of addressing her when she see her. Listen, you talking about my child, it's on site. I'm gonna talk to you when I see you. Period. If I don't about to see you, I'm not gonna be searching high and low for your number. I'm gonna address you when I see you, when you're talking about my children, and this isn't even the first time. Martell addressed her when she mentions the hair, as he should have. Nothing. Yeah, you should have. Don't talk about my kids. So he asked Melody what she should have done differently or whatever, and she was like she would have done the same thing, and I agree with that, as she should have. Yeah, it was a little disrespectful to Destiny. Could have been wrong place, wrong time. If that didn't happen, what would we be talking about as far as a grand opening? Let's be for real. So Marsau said he agreed with Mel, and of course Tisha was taken aback. She just couldn't believe that, he would basically go against, when you go against her mama, you're going against her. If Tisha won't say her mama was wrong, somebody got to. Marsau said Maurice did the same thing when he confronted Tiffany about Maurice Jr., because we know we don't like to call him that other little nickname. I don't like that nickname. So the only difference is that Tiffany and Louis received it differently. So, they were going back and forth. And Maurice was like, well, I wasn't about to, hit Tiffany. He was like, well, Melanie wasn't about to hit Miss Wanda. So what are you saying? So Martell or somebody was like, look, you lost your first case, your first battle, your first argument. You lost it. Marsau does always have valid points. And I feel sometimes they're not received. Well, he doesn't always have valid points. But when he's talking about other people's, outside of his own marriage, other people's business, he tends to have lots of valid points, but we tend to overlook it because it's him. But what he said is true. So Marsau asked Tisha if Wanda, ever went on, if she ever just went off on somebody, flat out just unprovoked, just came at somebody. So, of course I feel like yes. Kimmy's like, yes, she's been back and forth with Wanda for all of last year. Marsau was like, look, if Miss Wanda don't change, he doesn't even want her around his children, and that's her own grandchildren. But she is who she is. So it's what you gonna do, Miss Wanda? Are you gonna try to change so you can be in your grandchildren's lives and in your daughter's life, because it's gonna put a strain on your relationship, because she's gonna pick her husband. And those are his kids, so she's going to choose him. What you going to do? But, it's also that's her personality. It just is what it is. I don't know. So Marsau said if Wanda doesn't change... I already said that. Tisha asks what happened on Wanda's lives because they're very long, and she doesn't even watch them because they're just so lengthy. Marsau said he don't even watch anyone's live. Wanda's, Mark's, which is their brother, him and Maurice's brother, nobody. He don't watch nobody's live. Kimmy said they need, speaking of that, Maurice and Marsau need to control Mark. That didn't even sound right coming out. How are they going to control a grown man? No one can control anyone. He's not a dog. Can't control him. How are they gonna control him? But Tisha cannot control her mother, so it's the same thing. No one can control anyone. Kimmy said at the end of the day, you know, Mark, he was just upset because, you know what, he wasn't claimed and he feels dissed. And I don't recall ever hearing from Mark. And I've been watching since season 1, episode 1. I ain't never heard from Mark. I've just only heard of Mark. And Mark getting a whole lot of camera time without being on camera. I hope he's getting checks for his name being talked through all about. But they going back and forth. At the end of the day, we don't know what happened with him and Miss Van. But could it have been something? I think so. But I feel like Miss Van wanna, cause she said in the reunion, like, dang, that wasn't my man, that's my friend. You know how your granny, like, or somebody like an elder woman be like, oh yeah, that's just my friend Charles, that's just my friend Earl, and it's like, grandmom, that's your boyfriend. Granny, that is your boyfriend. But if it ain't no husband, he just your little friend. Got it. And that's what Miss Van was giving. So, you know, Maurice said in his confessional that basically Mark and Wanda are older and they're stubborn and he doesn't think they're going to change their ways, period. So the original 6 said, you know, it's never been like this out of control. We've never been this disrespectful to even almost come to blows. It has never gotten here. Kimmy feels like, look, it's the other people that have been added to the group, the newer castmates that are causing issues. And, you know, Miss Wanda, other people who aren't a part of the original 6. It really kind of is, though. It really is. Like, Marcel was almost back in there with Scope, but Miss Wanda came about and, you know, was talking, and that kind of ruined that. And so it's like there's always something. But I feel like there was, like, underlying issues there, but the other people have helped things get to this place. So they all agree they need to, you know, not disrespect each other on social media, kind of watch what they say. We know that ain't gonna last long because if Marcel don't talk about nobody else, he gonna talk about the mother of his 4 children and his ex-wife of umpteenth years on social media. He cannot help himself. And scene. They get up, they like, woo, glad that was over. They made us work today. Like, woo, we had to work for that check. Oh, I'm so exhausted. I'm glad that's done. They ain't even try to casually play it off. Like, okay, well, anyway, like, you know, and just end the scene. Nah. They like, look, scene's done and we're getting up and out of here. I don't even think they even ate no food. But let me know what y'all are thinking. Next week we finally do hear from Mark. I do want to hear what he got to say because I'm tired of hearing about him. I want to hear from him. Otherwise, let me know what y'all think about this season. Are y'all ready to wrap it up? Do you think they should come back next season? Also, do me a solid favor, a real solid favor. Check out my son's channel. It's Jim_Slim. It's under my channels tab. He is working very hard on his YouTube channel and he's really trying to grow it just as I am. And, you know, it's been kind of stagnant, so we want to get things rolling. Check him out. Subscribe. It will make a young man's day. I promise you. Otherwise, like, comment, share, subscribe this video and my channel, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.